hear us, leave us a comment. Let us know that you can see us and hear us. We do this every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern. So we just love to see you in the chat. So if you're joining us live here, just say hi in the chat, hit the like button, hit the heart button. I know Travis, that's his favorite, is the heart button. He just loves it when you hit that.
Love it, man. Love
So intimate. So you're live here with John and Travis, and we have a very special guest with us today, Mr. Nick Melosi. Hope I'm saying that right, of Raptor Martial Arts. And we're going to dive deep into how he was able to basically go from being stuck around 20-something students to now over 75 students. Last time we checked in with them, and it only took him about a couple of months to do that. So it was very encouraging. It's a great story. Nick's story is very similar to probably a lot of you in this group here. So we wanted to share it. And there's probably a lot of school owners that were in the same boat that Nick was, stuck around that 20-something student mark, or just stuck in general. And so we just thought this would be a great story, the perfect one to share with you guys today. And so if you can see us and hear us, just leave us a comment. Let us know. We're going to be reading the comments for feedback too. So if you have any specific questions for us or for Nick, we'll try to answer those in the chat as you're typing them in. So we'd love to hear from you. We love helping out school owners, and really, before we get into Nick's story, I just would love to know, if you're watching this, are you feeling stuck right now? It's okay to be vulnerable in this group. That's really what this group is all about, is like helping each other out. So if you're stuck, let us know you're stuck. And maybe you've tried some stuff like Nick has tried. Nick's done a lot of stuff in the past trying to get the school to grow, and was always just kind of feeling stuck. And he was really just doing kind of like Google ads, maybe boosted some posts on Facebook, and he wasn't really spending a lot of money on advertising. And so maybe that's you. And if that sounds like something, if that's a familiar feeling to you, just let us know. And let us know in the comments so that we can be interacting with you. And so that's basically, where Nick was at before. And I'll let him exactly share, how all this stuff has impacted his school. But if you're watching right now, just let us know in the comments if you've ever been frustrated trying to grow your school, or if you've been struggling trying to get new white belts on the mats. Just let us know in the comments. We'd love to see the comments, and just give us a list in the chat of maybe some stuff you've tried before, like the random boosted post on Facebook, or maybe you got Google ads running, or your website company has convinced you that you need to spend some money on Google in order to get traffic to the site. So if that's you, just let us know in the comments what you've been trying. And it looks like we've got some people can hear us and see us. So Mr. Nick, how's it going, sir?
Going pretty good.
That's awesome, man. Well, I love that we're here to officially kind of celebrate a tripling of your student base in only a couple of months. So that's super exciting. I can't wait to ask you like how that feels, and the emotion behind that is, I love reliving that with our members. So I'm excited to get into that. But if you would, before we get into some of the deep stuff, if you would just share a little bit of your backstory, then we'll dive into the interview itself. But go ahead and just introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, sure. So I've been practicing martial arts for probably about 20 years. It was something I picked up when I was in high school and college, and fell in love with it right away. Threw myself into it. Couldn't get enough of one style, kept practicing multiple styles. Got my black belt in one, and just kept on pursuing it in others, and got to a point where I just felt like I needed to create something that was a little bit more unique to some of the more traditional styles. I still stick to more traditional roots on a lot of things, but I felt like I needed to create my own. And that's where Raptor Martial Arts kind of came out of the woodwork. Probably about 3 or 4 years ago, I got the itch to start doing it. I'm currently an after-school coordinator for the public schools, the elementary schools. Started doing it there, just included it as one of my club activities that I would let the kids do. We did all sorts of things like robotics and arts and crafts, and martial arts was one of my things. So after I started to see the genuine interest from kids and see the impact and effect it was having on their personal lives, their social lives, happier kids, more discipline, more respect, to their parents and their elders. It really started to turn into something that I needed to open my own school. And I first opened it up in February of this year of 2022. So I'm a fairly new school, and started out opening day one with 0 students. And it was, I'll tell you what, that first month was very frustrating, because I had probably about a good 15 or so people that were like, oh yes, we'll definitely come to your class and we're going to do this. And nobody showed. It was a little bit discouraging, but I kept on going through with it. After about my 3rd month, I got up to about 10 students and I was feeling great. I was like, yes, I've got some people that are actually wanting to do it. And this was after teaching about 150 kids in the after school program. So I was expecting to get a little bit better reception that way. Turns out I didn't. But as the months went on, I slowly kept on building up a few at a time. And by the time summer rolled around, I had about 25 students. So I was feeling really good. But as the summer months ran on, there was nobody else coming in the doors. And I was doing everything I could to try and get a little bit more interest that way. Like you said, I did a little bit of Google ads here and there, not putting that much in, maybe like 10, 15 bucks a month, nothing major. I built and designed a website to help with that, get a little bit more of a digital footprint out there. I have kind of a techie background, so I can do that kind of stuff. And trying to just connect with some of the families that I had been working with in the past, and pounding the pavement kind of a thing, doing the hard sales kind of thing. That really didn't prove to be very effective. So I after a while of kind of looking around and trying to think of some other options, I came across your guys' program, and it honestly, at first, I was pretty hesitant. I'm not the kind of person that likes to jump into things very quickly. I like to analyze it, make sure it feels right. And but it genuinely felt like something that was going to be good, even though I was nervous about it at first. One of my biggest holdups, honestly, was the fact that I live in such a small town. And even though in a lot of your talks, you said it doesn't matter where you live, doesn't matter your demographic, how big your town is, something inside of here kept on telling me, I don't know. But sure enough, it did. And I went from, in a month and a half, I had tripled the amount of students I have. I'm now up to 76 students. And it is a very small studio. So all of my time slots are full. And it's gotten to a point where I physically cannot handle any more students. So I'm working on figuring out how I can make that even bigger and open up more time spots. And it's even gotten to a point where I have just actually put in my month notice with the school district, because the value of opening up more time for teaching martial art classes far outweighs the benefits of what I was doing with the school district. So
awesome.
And I was able to do that, but that was my 6-month goal, and I did it in about a month and a half. So
that's awesome, man.
I love it. That's fantastic, man. So this is cool, because this is a unique, a lot of times we talk to school owners that have been doing it for 20 years or 30 years, and they'll be stuck at that 25, 30, 50 student mark all that time. And so I really appreciate about you that you were like, okay, whatever I'm doing isn't working. Let me find something that does, like early and fast. And look what happened. A 6-month goal in 1 month. I mean, that's how many of you guys watching would like to have your 6-month goal met in 1 month? Right? Let us know in the comments if you'd like to achieve your 6-month goal in 1 month. I wish I could find somebody that could do that with fitness, because I've been working on my 6-month goal for about 2 years.
I was gonna say, John, have you been working out?
No, that's what it is.
It doesn't look like it.
Yeah.
That's a line you can use, Nick, with your students. Oh, hey, have you been working out? Yeah, I have. Oh, didn't look like it. But anyway, guys, couldn't resist. Couldn't resist.
That's all right. That's all right. Good, 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 good. All right. So walk me through a little bit, Nick, of the emotional part of going from kind of that feeling stuck and being a little hesitant and that wondering of like, oh, I don't know if this is going to work and all that stuff that goes on in our brains when we're kind of like a little scared to do something. And then fast forward to hitting that 6-month goal, putting in that notice at your job. Like, what does that feel like when you're so fresh to you right now? Let everybody know like the emotional side of that.
A little bit stressful. I think that's the best way I can put that, because it's you're playing a lot of unknowns when you go into something like this. It's brand new. There isn't really anything that is a for sure. So you have to kind of take that little bit of a leap of faith, I guess, to know, like, really deep down inside that this is something that is going to work. And really, playing that theater of the mind game stuff that you had us start with, like you said in the video too, this, you're going to tell yourself, this sounds stupid, I don't need to do this kind of stuff. I was one of those guys. I was. But I'll tell you what, I look at that just about every day, and it helps reinforce what I really want, what my goals are. And it's very much like, I don't know if you're familiar with dream boards, but it's a big board where you cut out stuff and you put pictures of, if you want a Lamborghini, I guess you put a Lamborghini up there. If you want a beach house, you throw it, and you just look at that every day. And to me, I was thinking that's very similar. And this sounded more like something I could do. I wasn't much of a dream board person, but this was something I could definitely get on board with. So it was a definite, kind of emotional roller coaster when I first, threw down that money for the advertising, and be like, because I'm very wary when it comes to throwing money at things in the hopes that it's going to do something. But, as soon as I turn those ads on, and in 24 hours, I had, I think, 7 or 8 appointments, if I remember right. And my student retention rate from that has been 89% of all the appointments that I've made. And most of the students that end up not making the appointments, it's, oh, I didn't have the time. Oh, I thought about it and I just really can't do it right now. It's legitimate things that people come across. I totally understand. But it's amazing to see how many people are genuinely clicking on that link because that's something that they've apparently thought they wanted and jumped on it. So a little bit nerve-wracking though, this last week when I did put in my month notice, because it is definitely a security thing, something I've been doing for several years now. And but the knowledge that something greater is going to happen because of that, because I will have the time and the energy to be able to put into it, whereas I'm not working already 8 hours a day at this job, plus my 4 to 5 hours a day at this job. 12 to 15 hour days gets a little tough after a while. So it's going to be nice to have that extra time.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love that you brought up the theater of the mind, because I was definitely one of those types of people too. Actually, I had kind of a funny journey with that too. When I first learned all like the mindset stuff and, focusing on those things, it was from a guy who loved those dream boards, and he would do success books. So we had these like binders, and he was a sales trainer at a company I worked for. And we had like pictures and the binders. And then we had the sort of the theater of the mind. And I was all in on it for a while. And then all of a sudden I had a business that was like doing really well. And then it just crashed to the ground and burned. And I was like, this mindset stuff's nonsense. And I threw the book in the garbage, and I was like, this is so stupid. And then for 2 years, I was like, that's the dumbest thing ever. That's easy for you to say. Anybody that would tell me like, oh, your mindset's terrible, I'd be like, well, that's easy for you to say. You're successful. I'm struggling here. But then when I nothing changed in my life until I went back to that and was like, let me just try this and test it, scientifically. Is this actually going to be something that works? And it was almost like overnight magic. I started to change. And I think what happens is it's just controlling the theater of the mind that's already going on. You know, everybody plays theater of the mind. Just most people don't control what's on the TV. You know, they're just like, whatever your brain is telling you, whatever negative thoughts are coming in, you don't filter that stuff out. That's really all that theater of the mind is designed to do, is just control the narrative in your brain. And it makes you make different choices. So I'm really glad that you brought that up, because
honestly, it's so much easier to let the doubt and the thinking that you're less than you are, that takes over so quickly if you let it and you don't have something to kind of a rock to cling to. And having that in your face, looking at that every day, it really does. It just helps kind of center you and put you back in line with your true goals. So
yeah,
ancient wisdom, John, to take your thoughts captive, I believe, correct?
That is some ancient wisdom there. Yeah. Take your thoughts captive. Indeed. Awesome. Well, so, you know, a lot of what Nick's been able to tap into is a pretty good example of all the stuff that he just shared here, is a pretty good example of what our process is. It starts out with that mindset, and it's not like some go walk in the park and dream about a Lamborghini type stuff. It's like real, you know, you're just writing down some goals and you're just kind of affirming to yourself the truth. I love Jim Rohn always says, I love affirmations as long as they're true. If you messed up, one of your affirmations better be, I messed up. You know, so we're not saying like to be out there affirming something that's not true. It's really kind of solid personal development, I like to call it. I kind of even steer away from mindset, because there's so many people out there that teach that stuff just the totally wrong way. And they've got you out there just dreaming that, you know, a check's going to appear in your mailbox one day. And that's just
secret.
Yeah. Right. They took it a little far on that. I mean, that's some wacky stuff, but you know, I believe that you do have control over your choices, and the choices you make are designed by your like your self-image. And so if you have a bad self-image, you're going to make bad choices. And if you can adjust your self-image and think about yourself differently, it's going to make you make different choices. Those choices are going to affect your outcomes, and you're going to have better outcomes. So I'm really glad that you brought that up. I love talking about that stuff. And sometimes people are scared of that, or they get kind of like turned off by it. But, you know, to me, it's like, it's secretly the most important part of success.
Which is ironic, because as coaches, you know, coaching martial arts, coaching businesses, when I coached football, it was, we could tell if someone's mindset was impacting their sport performance. You know, we could tell, hey, you're not getting to this level because your mindset is in the wrong place. But then when it's like, hey, we need to have the right mindset about our business, we kind of pause and say, oh, that's kind of some mumbo jumbo stuff. Yeah. So we can kind of just take a step back and see what we already believe about mindset in the industry and in our expertise. Then we know it has an impact really on everything.
100%. Absolutely. Yep. I love it. So before you started with us, you had 20 something students. Now you've got 75. Amazing. And you were not spending a lot of money on advertising, doing that stuff. You were just doing kind of the hitting the streets, doing the parades, or doing, what were you doing? Like what kind of activities are available to somebody in 2022 to get students besides paid advertising?
Printing flyers, putting them into gas stations. We have a local college here in town, putting some flyers up there. Again, smaller town, 8 to 10,000 population, not a huge place. So it's really hard to kind of find a lot of places. There are parades. I didn't actually get to do one this year, because honestly, this program took precedence over that. And so I spent more time on that than trying to go out and do parades and things like that. Demonstrations at the schools, because obviously I work in the school district. So, putting on a program where the parents get to come out and see the students that have been working in it, in hopes that they'd sign up for class. But that was maybe, I think, only 7 of my students that signed up. Of those 150 kids actually signed up for classes when summer hit. So it works a little bit, but not quite to the frequency of what this program was able to accomplish. So
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, I agree. We used to, my son has a black belt at Taekwondo, and we would always help the school owner there. And we would be at the parades and we'd be at the festivals and all that stuff. And we'd get some students, but it was just such hard work. Like, you're there 16 hours and it's sweltering heat, and it's emotionally exhausting to be out there and just like begging people, hey, come over here and break a board. It was a lot of energy spent for not a very big return. So I want to get into some math, but I don't want to get too crazy. So about 50 students enrolled in that month and a half, 2 months. Do you know about how much you've spent on Facebook ads to get those students?
Yeah. So I actually had to, and I know it's totally against what you guys wanted me to do. But after a month, I had to turn the ads off because I had so many people knocking on my follow-up ninja that I just could not handle anymore. I right now I have a waiting list of 10 people that I have to say, wait for a month for me to be done with my other job. But I digress from that, but it was probably, I think, about somewhere around $3,000 to $4,000 additional income from just those 50 students. And granted, I am also doing something a little bit differently. I have gotten a few students to sign up at my 150. I'm calling it my multi-pass, right? So that's where they can come as many days a week as they want to for the 150. That hasn't done so well with my particular demographic. So I've offered a second package, which is $75 a month, and they come 1 day a week for a 1 hour class. That has been the ticket for my area around here. There have been a lot, probably about only 5 or 6 of my students have done the full-time pass. And 2 of them have already been like, nah, my schedule, I just can't do that. But can I do the 1 day a week? So I say, okay, let's sign you back up for the 1 day a week. They still stay students and I don't lose any students. And then they only come 1 day a week. So profits could be higher if I was able to sell more of the multi-passes, but it seems like where I'm at, it's not working for everybody to do that multi-pass.
Got it. And so, but what was your ad spend? How much did you spend on Facebook ads?
So about $700.
$700. All right. So $700. And then from that, you enrolled 50 students. Do you remember how many paid trials did you sell from that?
I think it's funny, most of the students went straight from the free class right into full membership.
I love it. So
I would say probably
first month, $75 is what you're charging first month.
Yep.
75.
I would say from the paid trials, I was doing $50 for paid trials.
Got it.
Where it just included the belt. So they get to go home with the belt, and then they get a month of classes. So from the paid trials, I think 30 of those 50 students did the paid trial and then moved on to the full membership now. So
love it. So 30 times 50, 1,500 income. So you spent 700 on ads. As soon as they came in, you basically doubled your money to 1,500, right? And then the other 20 just went straight to $75. So there's another 1,500. So
and granted, keep in mind, once they sign up for membership, that includes the uniform. Uniforms are about $50 per student. So the first month definitely does take a hit, with your supplies. But after that first month, then it's 100%,
Using like a jiu-jitsu uniform? Is it like a real thick?
No, it is
$50 for those?
It's actually a Korean uniform, but with the cost of the uniform, which is around $30 to $35, plus I put the logo on with the local company here, that's an additional $10. So it's around about $45 to $50 per student's uniform.
Okay, got it. Yeah, I mean, there are some I think that you can get probably a lot cheaper, but these are probably higher quality. I know, like the jiu-jitsu guys, man, they're like, I can't give away a uniform for $50. I think like my cost on that's like $65 sometimes, right? Because they're throwing each other around, they're grabbing each other by the collars and stuff, Right. So awesome. Well, hey, I mean, even at that, 700 in, 3,000 out, And then basically 50 times 75. What's that come out to?
Like
37.50 a month. And you probably don't even know what your lifetime value is, but let's say they stay on the average 12 months, which the industry average is about 18. But let's say they stay 12 months. That's going to be, I got my calculator ready this time, Travis. $45,000 from a $700 ad spend. Oh my goodness. What does that come out to?
65.
6,428% ROI.
That sounds about right from my multiplier. Yeah.
That's a 65x return, basically. So, okay, results not typical, everybody who's watching. Usually 10x return. So let's just set the record straight here. 10x is usually what we aim
Well, then forget
for.
it, John.
Forget it. If I put $1 in and get 10 out, I don't want to do it. I want to get 65 out. Well, dude, that is awesome, man. That's a super exciting to know. Now, you want to talk about some odds, playing the odds right. If you have a 65x return right now, even if when you quit your job and you turn the ads back on, they're 65 times less effective than they were when you turned them on, you're breaking even. Like if they're 35 per, 35x less, you're still at 30x. I mean, you got pretty good odds, Nick, that when you click those ads back on, you're going to be making some serious money off of that. So that's awesome, man. Congratulations. I love it. And
Thank you.
that is so cool about, and being in such a small area too, to be able to get that kind of a return. Incredible.
Yeah, it has been something different. I definitely, I was expecting a few students. I was like, yeah, if they can help me get like 10 students, that would be awesome. I wasn't expecting 50 in less than 2 months. So
yeah. Amazing. I love it. I love it.
What I love about the small community, I actually talked about this with a school owner the other day, is at some point you're getting so big that like everyone in the community is going to know who you are. And it's just going to keep snowballing as time goes on. Yeah. I think sometimes small community school owners think it's a disadvantage to be in a small community. And I'm like, no, all you need to do is get 50 to 100 students. And then everybody in the community is talking about you as the go-to place for martial arts, self-confidence, defense, all that stuff.
Yeah,
definitely.
And it definitely, a big part of it plays in, who are you, like what kind of person are you? Are you a personable person? Like, can you talk to people? Do you treat people like garbage when you're out, like going to the gas station and you're like, oh yeah, give me my gas and leave me alone? Or are you the kind of person that waves to people and says, hello, how was your day? How are you doing? That also plays a big part, because I mean, not only do you just want to be a good, decent human being when you're out there in public, but you're also the face of your business, and right. You need to put on that role, everywhere you go. Yep. And I've worked in enough management roles throughout the years that, that's something that I've been fortunate to pick up, that, when you are out there, not only do you need to perform at your best ability when you're on the clock on the job, but this is a day-to-day walk. This is something that you put out there. You want to affect positive change, be the positive change.
Absolutely.
100%. I love it. Yeah, definitely much more. That matters a lot more in a small town than like, New York City or somewhere over there where, maybe that's why people are so mean in those big cities.
The winter, John. It's the winter.
Yeah, it's the winter. Yeah. I'm from Chicago. So
you're mean too.
You don't wave to people or say hi to people in Chicago. Like, you just can't do that. It's not. Yeah. It's not proper etiquette. If you wave, somebody's like, what's the matter with you? I'm trying to get to work. Why are you waving at me? Totally different mindset. But I love what you say about that, because it definitely matters, especially in a small town. So how many of you guys are getting inspired by this? Those of you watching, how many would like to get a 65x return? I can't promise a 65x return. I can say that most of the time it's 10x return, but who would like to put $700 into an ad and make $45,000? If you would like to do that, say I in the comments right now, if you'd like to make that investment and get that kind of a return. and hopefully you're getting inspired. So if you're inspired right now, just type the word inspired in the comments so that we can see. It kind of lets us know, we can't see your faces when you're watching, and we always know that there's a lot of people watching, but it's hard for us to know if you're getting inspired. So if you are, just type the word inspired, and that way we can see it, because that's what these stories are for. These stories are meant to inspire you. We work with martial arts school owners, and what we want to do is show you some school owners who have implemented a system that, literally anybody can do and has had some success from it, and it gets you motivated. And so if you're on with us live, or if you're watching the replay, just type the word inspired right now. Show us some love. That way we can see, if we're making an impact. And also it's good for Nick. Nick's taking some time out of his day here to be on with you all and inspire you. So we want to make sure that he's feeling the love too. So Nick, if you would just kind of walk me through some of you talked about how the stress of like the change and all that stuff, but have you even hit this point yet? I guess is a better question, because you're so fresh in the system right now. But have you hit the point where you can kind of like look and sit back and go, I'm going to be all right. Like, I know if I turn this switch on, things are going to be good. Have you reached that point yet? Or are you still kind of in the, I'm not sure about this yet?
It's still a little bit like on the edge, because I'm, making that transition still. So I still have one more month with my regular, full-time job. And then when that one goes away, and then it's 100% on this one, and I plan on actually, turning those ads back on a few weeks before my last day, to anticipate the change. So this, because like you said, it is so fresh, it's still kind of like a whole bunch of emotions all kind of happening at once. So it's a good feeling, it's a good feeling to know that there's some change, but I feel really positive about it. If any, like the nervousness is more just because it simply is change, not because I'm worried that it's not going to work out. I actually have like 99% assurity that this is going to be something that is going to be good for myself and my family and my school going forward.
I love it. Awesome. All right. You guys getting inspired by this? If you are, type the word inspired in the comments. Maybe there's some mental shifts happening. Maybe you are looking at this like, oh, I've always thought that personal development stuff was a bunch of garbage. And now maybe you're rethinking that. If you are, just let us know in the comments. Or maybe you've experienced that where you've tried some mindset stuff, and now you've like, okay. And to me, I think a lot of the mindset has to do with just knowing what to expect, right? If you had gone into this kind of blindly and put $700 into ads and wondering like, what should I expect from this? It might have been a lot scarier and harder to kind of overcome that mental hurdle. But knowing that you could get 5 to 10 students out of $700 made you feel good. And then you got 10 times that. So that makes you feel real good, I'm sure. And what I love about this story, Nick, and I really am excited to hear back from you. So we'll have to do this again and check in when you get to your 12-month goal or your 24-month goal or your 5-year goal. I'd love to do this again, but this is just the beginning for you. It's so, literally just the beginning. There's so much growth ahead for you right now. And so it's very, very exciting to see. I love getting back into these moments and, reliving that feeling of like, oh, this is the beginning and it's so exciting. So very cool. And so anybody that's inspired here, this is what we do. We help martial arts school owners fill their mats with paying students. And obviously we're not looking for anybody who's doing like the McDojo deal or the, do nothing, get paid. Let's bring some students in and sell them some belts. Like, we're not into that. We want you to have good curriculum. We want you to be passionate about serving the community. And if that's you, what I'd love to do is just invite you to a free 15-minute call. We call it a game plan call. So you can just type the word game in the comments. If you've heard this and you're like, you know what, I'd like to know what Nick's doing, and we'll hook you up with that free call. There's nothing for sale on this call. It's absolutely impossible for you to buy anything on this call unless you're like standing in line at the grocery store buying stuff while you're on the phone with us, which we don't recommend. But that's the only way you can buy something while you're on the call. You can't buy anything from us. And we will basically walk you through the same call that Nick went through to learn more about a game plan for your school. And so if you are a martial arts school owner who is passionate about serving your community and you already have a great curriculum and you just want to fill your mats and you want to do it the same way that Nick here has done it, we have opened up some time on our calendars for a free 15-minute game plan call. And we'll just go over some key details. Really, we just want to understand like where you are. We'll talk through some of the issues that you might be running into as far as growing your school. And really what this call is for is to help you cast a vision for what it would look like to work directly with us. So if you want that free 15-minute call, we're only going to be opening up a little bit of space on our calendars right now. So just type the word game in the comments, and then we will definitely give you guys some answers. Basically, this call allows us to see if it's going to be a good fit. If you're going to be a good fit for us, if we're going to be a good fit for you, and just give you some clarity and let you know what it looks like specifically. So for everybody that's watching, if you're a school owner, you want to dial in that same process that Nick here has taken to get from 20 something students to over 75 students now and had to turn his ads off, a 65x return. Just type the word game in the comments right now. We will hook you up on that game plan call. So back to you, Nick. I would really love to hear just what is it that you are the most excited for right now moving forward?
Oh man, that's a loaded question. The most excited for, I'm excited for a lot of things, actually. I'm excited to get more people involved in being more physically active, getting people to be more personable with each other. I mean, especially with everything that went on with COVID these last couple of years, people's social skills have really just they've tanked, I have some really good friends that have even mentioned they have a hard time talking to other people. And, something that we encourage is, being more personal, talking to each other, working with each other, being more understanding, but also, the discipline and respect and all the good things that come from martial arts. Another big thing I'm excited for is a little bit more security in knowing that what I am doing is going to be having a good effect on myself and my family. The financial security of knowing that I have something that's working, especially with the letting go of the full-time job, having more time with my family. That's a big thing. It has been a definite stress and a struggle for my family of having to work myself to the bone and not having any time to spend time with my family. So that's a big thing that I'm looking forward to. There's a lot of freeing, relieving things that come with this. And if I can just add something to that, don't go into this program thinking that it's just going to be easy. I put in a lot of work, a lot of extra work, constantly staying on top of it, following up with customers. There's a lot of great automation that you guys have put into this program, but some of it I had to do away with because I needed to add myself into these conversations with these people. So being a legitimate voice that you can talk to and answer their questions very specifically, genuinely, a lot of work, takes a lot of time following up with these customers, asking them, hey, I hope you enjoyed it. Little Timmy did great. I hope I can see you back next time. And there's a lot of time that goes into it. But if you're the kind of person that wants to work hard and achieve something with your hard work, this is definitely it.
Awesome. I love it. Yeah. We always like to stress that, especially on the game plan calls. Like, this is not some do nothing, get rich quick program that's just going to snap your finger and get people on the floor. It does require some work. The good news is for most people, it's about 7 times less work because you got a 65% or 6,500% return on your investment. So you got a lot more people. You did a lot more work in 1 month than most people have to do in the program. And I applaud you for that, man.
Thank you.
That's amazing that you
that's the kicker. I'll bet you, if I probably just sat back and let your program run without doing a whole lot of the extra work with it, I'll bet you I still would have gotten some students that way. But getting it at the frequency that I got in the short amount of time, I think a lot of it had to do with, it wasn't just me working an hour in the morning and an hour at night. It was me working probably 4 or 5 hours in the morning, taking a break for a minute in the afternoon and then getting right back on for a few hours at night, just to follow up, make sure everything was in order and in line. And yeah.
Right. I love it, man. This is amazing. Amazing. And what's great is, again, you're in total control. If you had hired somebody to run your ads for you and you had them on for a month and said, hey, I need to turn them off for a while, first of all, they'd be super annoyed with you. They probably wouldn't let you come back after the fact. I mean, it's not worth it for an agency to charge you a fee and then run ads for a month and shut them off. So this is what's great about being in total control, is you get to turn the lever on and off, and it's up to you 100%. And you could even like reduce your ad budget. I mean, you can do all that stuff. Whereas if you had hired somebody, you really can't, you don't have that much control over it. And most agencies, if they're smart and they're good at what they do, they won't let you spend under a certain amount because they have to charge you a certain amount and you need to get a return on your investment. So a lot of percentage of that has to be your ad spend, or else it doesn't make sense. So it's awesome to see this happening. And, being that you are a super hard worker and you have some tech ability, I mean, you can see that it just like amplifies everything. So it's amazing. And we work a lot of school owners. You might be the only martial arts school owner I've ever met who said, I have a tech background. Actually, you and Norman Leaker, I think we talked to, had a little bit of technical background. Other than that, I mean, there's not a lot of guys that have that, and they still are able to get amazing results. So I just appreciate what you've brought to the table here, Nick. It's just awesome to see how you've made it your own. And that's really what we love to do, is to kind of give you not a cookie cutter, but almost like a template, a process, a system that you can make your own. You can put in your own personalizations. You can do all this stuff, and it doesn't affect the results as long as you do it, the way that we show you how to do it. Here's where you customize. Here's where you stick to the process and the system. So it's great. So it's just really, I keep saying it's awesome to see, but it really is awesome to see. It's very exciting for me. And so for those of you watching, Nick here is just one of many, many, many success stories from our program. We've helped almost 400 schools at this point enroll pretty close to 20,000 students, and that's paying students collectively. And so our vision is really to build an army of high quality, successful martial arts school owners who are great at what they do and known in their community. So being great at what you do is on you. Being known in the community, that's where we help you out. So if you are looking to get more known in the community, to have more students on the mats, just type the word game in the comments right now. We still got some spots open for that game plan call. We're just going to ask you some questions like what's going on, what challenges are you running into, what problems are you having? And then from there, if what we have is a good fit, we'll talk to you about it. If for some reason it's not, we might refer you to somebody else that can help you better, or point you to some free resources that you can use to get to the point where it might be a good fit. So again, if you want those same systems, the same processes, all the templates, and the same support and mentorship that we've helped Nick with, and you're considering working with us or going through that same process that he's implemented, or maybe you just have some questions and you're wondering like, is this going to be right for me? Is this going to be the right fit? What it would look like for your specific situation, or maybe you just want some information on how we can help and what it would look like directly to work with us here. We are offering those game plan calls over the next few days. They're 15 minutes tops. I'd say, Travis, what are they usually? 5 minutes?
About that, yeah.
Yeah, 5 minutes. And it's really just about understanding and diagnosing what's happening, figuring out what part of the system is missing in your specific situation, possibly giving you some additional resources and some next steps. So if you want that call, just type the word game in the comments right now. And that's what we're do. That's what we do here. And so, Nick, before we wrap up, any final words that you want to share with the audience watching?
Give it a shot. Speaking from somebody that is probably the most wary and hesitant person when it comes to trying new things out like this. Great program, guys. You've put in a lot of hard work. It shows. It is definitely something that if you have the mindset to go in and make a change, and you want it and you're hungry for it, give it a shot, because I just can't say enough about it. It's been a fantastic change for me in my life. And you'll definitely reap the benefits of the hard work that you put into it. So, yeah.
Awesome, man. I love it. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. So.
Absolutely.
very excited to see where you get to over the next year. Definitely make sure you check back in with us and, keep us posted on your numbers and let us know if we can do this again when you hit the next goal. What's the next big goal?
Legacy. That's the next big goal.
All right.
That's where I'm going with it. I'm working through those right now. It's probably going to take me a month, to get a little time from the other job to really, really hunker down and focus on that. But that's the next one. That's my big goal.
All right. I love it. Very cool. Man. We'll definitely have to check back in with you on that. And so for everybody that's watching, this is my favorite part. This is where you give Nick a big round of applause. And the way you do that on Facebook is you just hit the like button a bunch of times really fast. And that just puts up this pouring like emoji spray from the bottom right corner and everybody gets excited. And so just that's how you thank Nick for coming in here and sharing his story. So go ahead and pound on that like button just a bunch of times and let him know that you appreciate it. Hopefully you were inspired here. I feel like one of these teenage YouTubers when I say that, but it really is like, smash that like button, right? But really, I mean, it does help us see and that you guys are appreciative of the content and that we're actually providing some value for you here because that's what we want to do. So I am very excited to getting on those game plan calls with any of you that have booked already. And we're looking forward to that time to chat. So as we wrap up, just one more invitation. If you need to get students on the mats, if you need more white belts, or if you just need to, raise up your revenue or get a return on your ad spend, if these are things that are exciting for you, type the word game in the comments right now, and we will reach out, give you a ton of insight, see if we're a good match for each other. And so the final time I'll say it, type the word game in the comments right now, GAME, and we will reach out. So thank you all for joining us here. This has been an absolute great time. I love doing these client interviews. This one's one of my favorites for sure, Nick. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. Hopefully everybody here got some good value out of this. And that's all we've got. So we will see you here next